All right. Hey there. Good afternoon. Well, I guess good morning still, everybody, right? One of these days I'll get used to it. It's so close, right? A few minutes after 11 a.m. Central Standard Time here on Friday, the 27th of January, 2023. Here it goes, folks. Next week we're into February and we're 11 months to go to the end of the year again. So kind of making our way through it. It's been an amazing kind of January for Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin, I believe this is the best January since 2013. Historically, Bitcoin's Februarys have been positive, green. I think I was seeing it was 7 out of 9 or something like that. So we got a lot of potential coming up here, in spite of everybody thinking that the markets have to do what they want to do. I see a lot of again, macro analysis by people that really don't have a clue. And even those that have a clue are still so stuck on the emotional side of it, on the herding side of it, right? Remember, guys, I told you one of the biggest things to understand about trading is that everybody tends to herd. And that includes your professional money managers and your hedge funds and whatnot. People just tend to herd in whatever it is. And so if you've got people out there saying, oh, historically this has happened here, 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 and they're like, oh, yeah, so it's got to happen this time. Well, first of all, the fact that they're saying it has to happen is really just, that's the first big clue there that, wait, what's going on here, right? Because price only has to do whatever it's going to do. That's it. Doesn't have to do anything else. But we tend to associate what we're thinking because, we just can't possibly be wrong, right? The way we're reading it, this has always happened this way, so it must happen again, right? And it's funny that people do that because you see the disclosures all the time, right? Past performance is not indicative of future results, right? And what they're trying to say is just because we've done all this in the past and it looks like it's good, it looks like the system that we're using, financial advisors and whatnot, money managers talk about this, right? But as good as it seems and as good as it's worked doesn't mean it will continue to work, right? They can't guarantee that. And yet everybody comes into the markets with the macro outlook and says, oh, but it has to do this, right? Well, it doesn't have to do anything. So things are looking pretty interesting, right? So we're going to take a look at that today. PCE number came out. Pending home sales came out. We're going to talk about that as well and what that all means, as well as where we're looking for the Fed to go with the interest rates, stuff like that. Who's here already? Mark, what's up, man? Fibaswani checking in. Deadly123, good to see you. Nevlusian Data. Andrew Bennett, good to see all you guys showing up and everybody else listening in here. Viewership, for my channel isn't where everybody else's is. For two reasons. One, we've got a longer format and people are just like, oh, just give me the answers. We don't do that, right? We'll get you an understanding. We get you an understanding so that way you can find the answers on your own. What happens if those people giving you answers, let's say they're always right, what happens when they're gone all of a sudden? Then what do you do? People don't tend to think about that, right? It is what it is. But I'm always glad to have you guys checking in here. Hey, listen, you can join us here, the LMT program. So last time we had two people say they wanted to do the LMT program. One got it. The other one got a lifetime membership with TWC, which includes the LMT program in it. So that means, because that was a lifetime, that means I've still got one more of the LMT program. I told you we're going to do a discount on that for those two people, right? So there's one open still for $29.99, guys. $2,999. Normally it's $10,000. Right now we've got it on sale right now for $4,500. But you can get it right now if you're the next person to contact me. Just let me know. You can contact me at christopher.inks@texaswestcapital.com or on our server, our Discord server. You can send me a message. I will get you a discount code for that. You can get in for that. If you guys haven't seen, man, I posted. I'm still struggling to get everybody's their what do you call it, testimonials and stuff all up in one area. But man, oh man, we had this great one here from the LMT session. By the way, the Trade With Me session. We do it twice a week, guys, in the morning. And, wow, are fantastic. Great to see how we look at the charts and live and applies the trading system to entering and exiting trades. And then, of course, couldn't agree more. Absolutely priceless. Watching, discussing the system in action is fantastic. But it's the mindset piece that is so important for me. Chris addresses every convoluted thought running through my head as if he's reading my mind. I was so confused about the price action in crypto market this morning, and this session just wiped things clean and left me with a clear picture. Simple, not easy, is so true. So, I mean, that's what we do, guys. That's the whole idea here. As I tell people, anybody can teach you to trade, right? I mean, anybody can teach you how to mechanically do it. That's not the difficult part of trading. The difficult part of trading, the thing that makes it so not easy, right? Even though it's simple, the thing that makes it not easy, the thing that makes it difficult is that emotional and psychological side. And so the more you understand about it, the more you can front run your emotions, you can front run your psychological beliefs, you can see them coming, and you can change, and you can prepare, and you can do better. So anyway, you can join in there, do that. That, by the way, if you want to check out more information on here, the link is right there. And then you can also, we are doing right now, the second link there, howtotradetowin.com/T3. You can get a month of tier 3 for $19.99, guys. We're going to end this pretty soon here, but no auto renew, nothing like that. So you don't have to worry about canceling if that's all you want to do. I understand some people like that, right? But if you do want to hang around afterward, we're going to give you a pretty sweet deal. Again, it's part of my mission this year is to help 10,000 traders become more consistently profitable, right? So anyway, you can jump on there and do that, guys. We would love to have you there. We have a lot of fun, I think. People seem to have a lot of fun there, and we enjoy it quite a bit. A lot of great people there. We don't have a churn. A lot of these trading companies out there like that, they've got a lot of churn. People come in and they just rotate out of it, right? And that's because, the people running it don't understand, right? They don't understand what the real issue is. I go up to you saying, this, are you tired of losing money consistently? Are you tired of it seems like every time you get into a stupid trade, the dang thing goes the other way. And then you get out and you're losing money, and then it turns around and goes in the other direction. I mean, is that you? Is that what you're dealing with? Are you missing it? Did you miss the buys down here? If you're doing that, that's what we specialize in. That's what I help you with. I can take you from missing stuff like this to getting stuff like this. Right? That's what I do. I had to learn over the last 27 years how to do that myself. Right? I came in just like you. But it's taken me 27 years to get this point where I am, where I'm, just great. I mean, I've been doing obviously consistently here, but you can't stay in it this long if you don't figure it out. But it's more than just saying, listen, here's the system. You can go anywhere online and you say, okay, Elliott wave. Elliott wave is 5 waves up, 3 waves back. Here's the rules. Here's the guidelines, right? Rules. Wave 2 can't drop below wave 1. Wave 4 can't drop below wave 2. Wave 3 can't be the shortest of waves 1, 3, and 5. Wave 3 usually, guideline here, 1.618, right? Wave 4, guideline, usually pulls back 38.2. Secondary target's 50%, right? Wave 5 guideline, usually 1.618 times the length of wave 4, right? I could sit here, I could spout this all off and all this consistently, right? And you can learn this. This is not difficult to learn. It's not difficult to memorize. But it's all that other stuff that makes it difficult. And nobody ever really addresses that. That's the thing, guys. So anyway, we'd love to have you there. Seriously. It's got the potential to change your life. It really does. But at the end of the day, guys, all I can do is I can sit here and I can tell you how to do it. I can show you how to do it. I can do these things and tell you what you need to do. But at the end of the day, you have to make the effort. You have to accept that that's what needs to be done and you need to change. And then you have to actually put the effort forth, right? Discipline and consistency. If you can't do it, guys, it won't happen. It doesn't matter what you're learning. It doesn't matter how successful a system may seem for somebody else. Anyway, let me see here. Who else is here? Kim Hasabi, what's up? Bamboo is here as well. Brian Riley, what's up, man? Hobby Dons, good to see you, man. Thank you so much. Yes, love Bob Lucas, man. He's a great guy. In case you all saw, Bob's got a cycle target of 28,000 or so on Bitcoin. That aligns with my current Bitcoin target up here around 28,046. Okay. So I saw that this morning. I was like, okay, that's great, man. That kind of comes out there with what we were looking for, right? So, where are we at right now? Well, everybody's kind of looking for this rollover, right? I don't think we're there yet. I think we still have some further upside with this here. And so you can see that the daily Stoke RSI, guys, almost reset down and oversold, and this is on the BLX here, right? So this is just as of Thursday. This isn't even current, right? Because it's always, it's the daily, so you have to wait for the daily data to come in before it posts, right? So we've basically got a reset on Stoke RSI on the daily, guys. So, I see a movement up here toward maybe 24,794, a pullback, 25,786, a pullback, and then rally up there to 28,046. And I think that gets us then 5 waves up. Now, if you guys will remember, if you guys have been watching me, I've been talking since down here, right? We were talking about the idea that price would, this is our first target, but once we get above that, it should rally up pretty easily through this inefficiency here and hit this, I was looking at a $29,000, $30,000 area, right? Which we could still get up there, by the way, if we get some sort of overextension here along the way. But nonetheless, 28 gets us pretty close to what we were already talking about here a couple of months ago, right? So I see a lot of claims of manipulation or whatever. God, even Kramer, somebody that's supposedly been doing this for as long as he has, right? Manipulation. Guys, this isn't manipulation. This is everybody and their grandmother sold all their supply coming in here, the ones that were going to sell, the weak hands, right? Into the strong hands. That's what happened here. And then guess what? Nothing left to really impede this movement once it got going. How many things have we talked about, guys? We talked about once we popped across this level here, this inefficiency should see price rallying up just as quick as it went down up into this area. And it did, right? And then we're up into the next area here, right? So again, the same idea here, right, would be the same idea here. So if we do happen to break that swing high up here, we should rally up into the next area up there. It just, no matter how you look at this, I talked to you guys about so many ways to look in this, whether we're looking at Wyckoff or whether we're looking at Elliott Wave or whether we're just looking at, price action of some sort, whether, it has to do with supply and demand or resistances. And they all just kind of, no matter how we look at it, it keeps telling us where it's going, right? But, you got these idiot accounts online that I can't believe that they're really that bad and have as many followers they supposedly do. So I have to believe that what they're doing is just farming for engagement. Because as I mentioned, I think previously, they make the money off being influencers, right? Not trading. And so it doesn't matter if you disagree with them or not. The idea is engagement. The idea is followers. The idea is comments and likes, right? Because that's what you show somebody that you're trying to sell your influencing to, your services to, right? Some company or something. You show, listen, we got all these followers. We get all these comments, interaction. We get all these likes and whatnot. And so, I just have to believe that with big followings like they have, and they're getting so consistently wrong, that it has to be this idea that they're doing it just for engagement. You guys got to be careful with that. I say this, guys, because, whether you follow me or not, whether you join TWC or not, if you're here, I care about whether, maybe you're misleading yourself, whether you're putting yourself in a position that you shouldn't be putting yourself in, right? Again, I can tell you all day, but you have to take those steps to clean that up, right? To make sure that you're not doing that, or if you are, to then change it, right? So, let me see here. Kim Wasabi says 28K is the 12-month order block. Well, there you go, see? Andrew, what's up, man? He says if we make that rally up to 28, that would cross the 250 MA on the weekly. If Bitcoin goes above 26. Yeah, no surprise, right? If you don't understand market movement, whatever, then it would be surprising, right? And you're going to call this manipulation, which again is why, Kramer doing, I don't know, is he just trying to get engagement as well? Like these social media influencers, right? Is that what he's trying to do with it? I don't know. But he just reiterated how this is all manipulated here with crypto right now, right? This rally. When it does what you want to do, it's organic. When it doesn't do it, it's manipulated, right? In the way we say it in crypto, right? So silly. Let me see here. Is that Ilya? Good to see you. Check in. Says, hi there. Just got the tier 3 membership. So excited. Well, we are excited to have you there as well. If you haven't yet, make sure you say hi in the channels. I mean, and here's the thing, guys. We've got 300 plus members. Most of them don't say anything, or they'll say something every once in a while. And that's okay. If that's your cup of tea, that's fine. That's fine, really. We all have what we're comfortable with, right? But I would always encourage you that if you're coming in, speak up, talk. It's like if you go to a get together or whatever, you can choose to stand in the corner or you can choose to mingle, right? And get to know people. The benefit of mingling, getting to know people is you become active in what's going on. And that's important when you're looking at trading, you're looking at learning, because your brain takes a different approach. Your brain, when it becomes actively engaged, pays attention in a different way. Okay? And again, this is my big thing, right? Psychology, right? And so, with my master's degree in psychology, and then my 27 years of trading experience and thousands of traders I've talked to, right? It all kind of comes together. And that's why I always talk about the trading simple, but it's not easy, right? Again, simple refers to, anybody can learn the rules of a system, how to apply a system. The difficult part is actually doing it and following through and following those rules. It's getting through that emotional, that psychological stuff that you deal with. It's not easy. Not at all. It is difficult. And it doesn't ever become easy. It just becomes not as difficult. The more you are disciplined and consistent with doing the things that you have to do to get beyond that, okay? Let's see here. Kramer is a spokesman for a corrupt system. It's all corrupt out there, guys. Everything's corrupt. Oh, it's crazy stuff, right? Bamboo says, yeah, they said Binance manipulated all the buying this month. Bears looking for any kind of excuse to be right. I think, actually, I thought I saw some online metrics showing that a lot of the buying was coming actually from Coinbase. And, if you buy into the narrative of who is where and what's going on, your professional buyers buy spot, on Coinbase. That's the narrative, right? And so if that's the case, of course, it makes sense. But, there's nothing going on here that we haven't been talking about for the last, what has it been, 7-8 months now? This bottoming process, I've been explaining it to you the entire way, right? The volume, the price action, how it all comes together. I mean, geez, oh whiz, right? So, I'm not surprised. You shouldn't be surprised if you've been in here, because it's doing exactly what we've talked about to the levels that we've talked about. And every time it makes through our levels, we pop in the next level, right? And it goes there and it does it. And there's no surprise in this. And there shouldn't be. There shouldn't be a surprise when you're trading, guys. If you're surprised, it means that you don't know enough, right? And that's not that in itself doesn't mean that you're a terrible trader or it's a battery. It just means, listen, you acknowledge it. Okay, I don't know enough of what I need to know. Now I need to learn it. That's all. People tend to get really upset and really butthurt when somebody says, oh, you don't know enough about this. You're not understanding what's going on. Oh, how could that be? I've been trading for 2.5 days. I know exactly what's going on. Maybe not, right? And at the end of the day, even if it is manipulation, here's the thing. Here's the best part about this. Even if it is manipulation, obviously you can learn to trade it properly. I mean, again, you don't sit in here like, myself, 27 years, or Peter Brandt for 40 plus years, or, Bollinger for his, whatever it's been, 30, 40 years or whatever as well. I mean, you don't stay in for that length of time if you don't figure out how to do it properly, right? So even if it were to be manipulated, you don't even have to argue with me about it being manipulated. Even if it were, you can clearly learn how to trade it. You just haven't yet. And that's okay. Again, that's just the realization that, okay, I need to do something about that, right? So anyway, so here's what we're kind of looking at. So, again, we're holding support here, and we're holding support while we're staying really elevated with the RSI and overbought, and Stochk RSI almost hit down there and oversold, right? I mean, if we look at actually my chart here, what I think we've got going on is a triangle here. And so we're looking for wave D to kind of hit this blue, the lower end of this blue range here, maybe the EQ. And then 3 more waves back to the 15-minute pivot to finish off E of 4. And then 5 of 3 is up here at the EQ of this purple supply structure, 24,750 or so. So that's that first target, and the idea is we hit that, we pull back to the 15-minute pivot, and then we rally up here toward 25,786 as a minimum for the next target up. So that, that just aligns with the targets what we're looking here. But right now it does look like maybe we've got a running triangle going on here. It's just going sideways. So yeah, I mean, we're above the hourly pivot. We're actually, sandwiched here between the hourly pivot and the hourly R1 pivot, right? But you do see the RSI here starting to get this triangle-ish thing going on here, right? And that's what you're looking for. So you're kind of looking for, just basically consolidation is what you're looking for in your RSI. See if I can do this. There we go. See that consolidation in your RSI? That's what you should be getting with the triangle, right? And so if we look at this, we say, okay, well, within this range, what's going on? Well, you're getting a lot of back and forth in this first area until it rallies up. You're getting a big move down. But look what happens. There was another big follower influencer, I guess, on there, General Byzantine or something like that, that mentioned this all this volume up here, right? And he said, oh, if you're getting big volume at the top or, big volume in the rally, that's bearish, right? Well, it's not that it's bearish. Are you getting follow through down below the swing low? If you're getting a lot of volume in, okay, pay attention. But if you can't break down below the swing low, what does that tell you? That tells you supply tried, but it couldn't do it. Demand is winning. Remember, we always talk about the first thing you look for is where does that volume and price action come in together, right? Where in your range is that coming in? And the second thing is there follow through? You can have a whole ton of volume come up at the top, and and it's being distributed, right? There's a lot of supply and demand hitting each other. That's why you get the big volume, right? But if it doesn't follow through in the other direction to a new swing low, then it doesn't matter how much it came in there. They tried. The market said, hell no, we won't go. Yeah, you guys are going to have to listen to stupid stuff like that for me to say the hell no, we won't go thing. But I'm not singing like Scott, so there's that anyway. But seriously, guys, you've got to be more clear on what you're following and why. I mean, again, this is a large account. He's got a large account. He's got a large following. And he says something just something overly simplistic like that. How does that help you as a trader? I mean, maybe he doesn't understand. I replied, and explained, about the follow through, but maybe he really doesn't understand. But again, listen, guys, everybody, being helpful, it's a dime a dozen out there, right? You can be helpful all you want. But if in being helpful, you're hurting somebody or you're not really helping them, then what the heck are you doing? Right? I mean, you can try and be a good Samaritan all you want, but if that causes somebody deeper pain, what the heck? Right? So again, what I'm trying to get clear to you guys is a lot of these accounts that you follow are really just you, to be honest. They're just good marketing. And that doesn't help you any, okay? That's going to lose you a lot of money. So you got to stay clear of that kind of stuff. You got to be wary of. You got to be sure that you understand what you're looking at, right? Doesn't mean you can't follow them, but you need to understand it when you're following them. Okay, what is it that they're saying that's making sense or what isn't making sense? Because you want to be careful when they're not making sense, right? Or when they're not giving you full truths. Remember, I told you guys, the biggest thing you guys have going for you, something that I didn't have when I started, because I started before the internet, was this thing, right? Is that you have all this information at your fingertips, right? A lot of free information or very, very cheap information. The problem is most of that information is half-truths or outright lies. And not that they're trying to be untruthful or not that they're trying to lie, but just that they don't know any better. Again, they're you. They went somewhere online, they read about whatever they read about, they read half-ass information, and that gave them a derivative of half-ass information to give you, right? So you guys got to be careful out there. Again, yes, we'd love for you to join us because I believe that what we do changes lives, right? But even if you don't, listen to what I'm saying here so at least you're putting yourself on a better footing out there with the information that you're trying to go through. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. Let me see here. I'm getting myself wound up again about Twitter celebs. You love those rants? Man, I don't know. It just, it's worrisome for me. I probably care more than I should, right? I mean, people online, I don't know, right? But if you're here making a conscious effort, taking time out of your day, which you could be doing something else, to listen to me, then I want to make sure that I give you something of value. I mean, that's my goal, right? Whether you want to believe it or not, it's my goal. It's what I do. And so, hopefully that comes across. Hopefully, the things I say here, everybody picks up something every time at least. All right, Mark, watching for the kitchen. Mark's always in the kitchen, it seems like. Mark, you're always in the kitchen or in a meeting. Andrew says the altcoin micro caps are pumping, usually the cycle finishing up, back to Bitcoin again soon. Yeah. Again, one of the big things is, cycles, right? So we go through the large cap, which is, Bitcoin, Ethereum, stuff like that, your mid caps, and then your small caps, then your micro caps, and then you kind of back up around, right? The money flows, right? You go from one to the other like that. A lot of traders, they get in there because, you're going to have other ones that are going to, do their thing in the middle of it. Like you might have your large cap cycle going on. You might have a micro cap spiking, right? But in general, those levels kind of move at the same time, right? And I think a lot of problem that a lot of the traders get into, amateur traders out here, is that they try to jump a cycle before it starts because they see something pump in something else, right? And again, one of those emotional things that people are always dealing with is, how fast can I get rich? But what usually happens, be honest, guys, what usually happens with that mindset? You see how fast you can get poor, right? You see how fast you lose your money. That's a wake-up call, guys. That's a wake-up call. And a good job I do. It changed your life, Darren. I appreciate it, man. Really. Thank you so much. Fiboswani says his hourly fib model is still in the bull zone, holding support well. See, there you go. More support for the idea we're probably going to rally up. Now, again, I can't guarantee it, right? Nobody out there can guarantee it. But you look at, the structure and the way things are happening and what may be going on and the things that we know. And we put it together and we say, okay, well, it looks like that. Here's the thing, guys. If it drops below this swing low over here, this wave A, this 22,298 and 15 cents, then that says what probably happened is this is 3, this is 4, and this is 5 somehow here. Or I'm sorry, no, this is 4. This is a triangle here. We go A, B, C, D, E right here. And this is the thrust out to do wave 5. So that would be wave 5 of 3 would be here. Now, if that's the case, wave 4 has a target of the hourly pivot and a secondary target just below, right around 21.7, 21.8 there as a wave 4. But other than that, you don't know. And sometimes new traders come in, they're like, so why do I have to wait till it goes all the way down there, Chris? Man, that's like $1,000 lower. Well, yeah, because you've got a big ass range. That's why. Until you break out or break down to the range, there's no confirmation that anything's going on. Again, impatience. We talked about impatience last week, last Friday in our mentor session. So, we talked about how that affects you, in life and in trading, and in ways to maybe work through it, why it's important to understand it, to recognize it happening, things like that. Again, the whole psychological, the whole emotional side of it. We got by the way, if you're in the mentor program, guys, don't forget we've got that today at 1:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's just about 2 hours from now. So we'll have that as well. By the way, guys, hey, listen, I put a thing. If you guys are on Twitter, check out my Twitter feed there, TX West Capital. And let me know. I put out a tweet. I said, listen, I'm thinking about doing some kind of just like a free training thing next week sometime via webinar, Zoom, something like that. Just, let me know on that tweet if you're interested in something like that. Again, won't cost you anything. Be free. But I need to know if there's enough interest in it for me to take time out of my day to do it. So check it out. Let me know. So anyway, so here we are with this, right? I'm also looking at, let me see here. So LinkedIn, man. Look at this LinkedIn. Okay. I'm going to post a chart. I'm going to post a similar chart to this on Twitter, I think, on social media. But now, here's the thing. It looks like maybe we've got, a 1-2 here. It is possible maybe this is 1, 2, 3, 4, right? But in either case, we're looking for a rally up beyond the all-time high there from where we're at. So, I mean, right now that means, you're looking at least, what, at least 600 or so percent, at least from where we're at. As long as this swing low holds over here, we should be good to go on that. Let me see here. Yeah, and so, again, looking at this as a 1, 2, or like I said, worst case scenario, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, here's the thing. If this is 1, 2, wave 3 is minimally expected up here around $91. Wave 5 at 111 or so, 110. If this is, 3, 4 here, so like 1, 2, 3, 4 maybe, you're still going to get a target at least of around $83. So from here, worst case scenario, this is wave 4, and we got wave 5 coming up. You're looking at almost 1,000% return on that, which is 10 times, right? But here's the thing. If this is going to actually be a what do you call it? Blow off top type thing going on, then we could see this actually go up much further. Potentially 50% further. So yeah, you could be looking at potentially $150 or so on LinkedIn, on Link. I can't even say I want to say LinkedIn. But anyway, so yeah, a lot of stuff. But here's the thing, guys. Long story short, if you're interested in longer term picture of what may be going on, look at your weekly pivots on your charts. If you're below it and you bust out above it impulsively, the odds are that the bottom's in and you're going to a new high. Okay? And what you'll actually likely happen is you'll rally up to the R1, you'll pull back to the pivot, and then you'll break out and go higher. All charts. That's pretty much what you're going to look for. If you're above the pivot, you're looking for, do I get a bounce here and then a breakout, and then a breakout above the swing high was there before we bounced and go higher. That'll be bullish. If you break down below it, then you should be looking down, potentially towards your S1 pivot on the weekly. I mean, we're really at that point right now. That is the simplest, easiest way to look at all the charts right now. Whether it's the dollar, whether it's gold, whether it's oil, whether it's crypto of any kind, whether it's, anything you think of, stocks. That's what you want to be looking for, okay? Let me see here. So is this Bitcoin range accumulation? Which one? Where we're at locally? Yeah, I think it might be. I think it might be a little bit of reaccumulation here on the very short time frame, right? To get us to move higher. Yeah. I mean, that's what it's looking like to me. We'll see if we can get the finishing out, but again, you would have, phase A is the stopping phase here, right? And then you have phase B, which is the building of a cause. You have phase C, which is the final test. You have phase E, which is the interior markup. And then you have phase D, which will be, or phase D, which is the interior markup. And then you have phase D, which will be the exterior markup. So yeah, I mean, as we're looking through this, we don't see, do you see how this is dropping off? You see how the volume's dropping off as you're coming down? That means there's less and less selling going on as prices moving further. If you're looking for a breakdown of this range, you want to see heavy volume coming at the lows, right? Consistently. Well, not just at the lows, but you want to see like volume expanding as you're coming down. You want to see your candle spreads getting bigger as you're coming down, right? So if you want to define a trend, guys, here's what you want to look for. If you want to define a trend, look for candle spreads that are getting larger overall, right? It won't be everyone, right? But you get this one, and then this one's a little bit bigger here, and then this one's a lot bigger here, right? And look at your volume expansion as well. Whether that's down or up. If you have volume expansion and your candle spreads are getting increasingly larger, that's a trend. Okay? If you have volume expansion, but your candle spreads are getting smaller, that means you're likely to hit a reversal. They're expending more effort, getting less result, right? If you have expanding candle spread and decreasing volume, right? Again, the volume is how much effort is going in on that, right? And so at the bottoms at the starts of trends, that's how it starts, right? But if you're getting that toward the top of a trend, that means you're getting less and less involvement as it's going up, less and less interest in it. People are getting out. So volume and price action is much more nuanced than most people give it credit for, and that's why they make stupid remarks about it, right? And I mean stupid as in things that don't make sense, if you know, right? It's this lack of knowledge. So we've got this, right? Linked is there. What else do we have here? Oh, the DXY, yeah. So DXY, again, so I've got this, I kind of updated this count. And I think what we have here is we've got our 1, 2 off the swing high right here. And we're getting rejection, right? It's rejected right at the weekly pivot, which, as you can see, is also where the daily pivot is right now, right? Go to the weekly. Look at how this weekly looks, guys. Look, here's the weekly pivot. We attempted to rally, got shut back down hard, right? Huge upper wick. And what did we get after that? We got follow through with a large supply spread candle, right? Remember, I told you the first thing is to see for the the candle, the price, the volume price action if you have the volume on, right? The second thing is, do you get follow through? We had the attempt, we got shut down, follow through lower. Continue to go lower. I'm looking down here toward the S1 overall. We get a rally here. I'm looking for a rejection at the weekly pivot and continuation lower. I mean, overall, there is no reason for things to kind of continue up, right? I mean, if you think about it, PCEPI came in today, right? It came in at, what was it, 5%? I believe. Let me look at my my thing here again. Oh, do you guys remember? Let me see. I think it was 5%. I think it was 5%. Which is down from the 5.5% it was the previous month, right? Yeah, it comes in at 5%, down from 5.5 the previous month. And so that deceleration, that cooling off continues on, right? Let's see here, we had home sales, right? Pending home sales. They're coming in here at 2.5%, right? So a 2.5% rise. They were expected to have a negative 0.9% decline. So that's a significant upside surprise, right? And the previous month, it was a negative 2.6 decline, right? So home sales coming in shows, finally after, 7 months of consistently downward movement, right? Showing some potential support, potential stabilization coming in there, right? So, what reason does the Fed have, right, to continue doing its heavy, interest rates, right? Interest hikes. It doesn't have any reason to do so. Every single thing that's coming down basically is saying, listen, everything's slowing down. You need to slow down too. And so we got, again, from the 75 basis point rate hike we had the 4 times there from the summer into the fall. And then we had a drop of, we had that drop in December to a 50 basis point rate hike, right? And now we're looking at a 25 basis point rate hike coming in here in February, next week. So yeah, I mean, there's no reason really to think that the Fed's going to do much different. And if they don't, then the DXY should continue lower, right? It should continue lower. And so again, looking for this move down here toward this S1 pivot. Now, if we get some sort of impulsive breakout above this swing high here, this 105.631, if we get some kind of impulsive break above there, then it's going to put the count in jeopardy, right? It doesn't mean it's definitely not going to continue lower, but it just means we got to watch it then at that point and see what's going on there. But as we continue in here, let's see, let me find a better chart here. I mean, here's the Euro USD, right? Again, weekly pivot. If we're going to get a pullback, it's probably just going to come into this wick right here. So basically the weekly pivot, the 10583, 1.0583 kind of area. But ultimately, we should be looking for a rally up here toward about 1.1439. And again, the idea is we get this rally up here toward that point, maybe a little bit higher toward the R1 pivot, and then we'll get a pullback to the pivot, and then we'll break out higher. I mean, that's what I'm looking for the euro right now. Remember, the euro makes up 58% of the DXY's weighted value, right? So yeah. So, I mean, again, I think that's kind of what we got going on here, right? Locally, I don't know, maybe 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is this 1, 2, 3, 4 working on 5 here? Maybe, I don't know. You got to zoom in lower here, right? I mean, I do know I have a count, but just looking at this larger time frame, I think that if we get this pullback here, it just finds support in this demand here in this wick, right at the weekly pivot, and then I think we continue higher there, right? Yeah. If we look here, let me see. Look at the 12-hour. 12 hours reset down and oversold as it is already. We've got some overlap. We've got this support built here. You see we rallied up and we came back on support right in this area, pivot right there. So the pivot next week, this is the hourly pivot, so they change every week when it opens. It shouldn't be much different than where it is right here with the price action the way it is. And so, it looks like we want to continue up here. 12-hour, it's almost bottom out and oversold trying to get up there. So I don't see a whole reason why to be concerned that we don't. I mean, right here it looks like ABC, right? So WXY. That means if we break out above 1.09005 right there, we should look for a rally to break out to a new higher high. So I mean, it's kind of where we're at there with that, right? If we jump over here to, I don't remember what these charts are here. Let me see. Qs, right? So here with Qs, I mean, look at this. Look at what we've done here. Again, same thing we're seeing across the other indexes, right? The stock indexes. You get this idea that you got maybe this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So it looks like an ABC. Again, that's that mid-August. I keep telling you guys, watch the mid-August swing high, right? If you can get above that, that locks this in as 3 waves down. Now, either that's ABC, and this is 3, this is 4, and we're going up for 5, right? Or this is ABC as a W, and then we'll get like an ABC as an X, and then we'll get an ABC down as a Y, and then we'll head up higher, right? But this looks pretty clearly like 3 down. But here's my thought on that. I think it would just be an ABC here because we're going to get a breakout of this pivot. And once we get a breakout of this pivot, we're probably going to rally to the R1 here, right around 361, right? And if we do that, again, it's that idea that we make the move up here, we toward this area, we pull back to the pivot, we get support, then we break out higher again. And I mean, my God, if you're seeing that, there's little reason to believe that we're not going to break out higher. And if you're arguing with me about that, it's just because you don't know, right? I mean, this is one of those things that we kind of learn when you're trading pivots for so long, right? Price action works in a certain way. You understand that if it does A, then B is going to happen. If it doesn't finish on do A, then C happens, something different, right? This other thing happens. But if you're watching the Qs, right? You want this impulsive breakout above the pivot, and then you want the pivot to hold this support. If you break above it and it comes back down below it, that's going to put that in jeopardy, and you'll look for an idea that you're probably going to drop below the swing low here at 259.73. And if you do that, you're probably coming down to the S1 pivot. All on the weekly here, right? But again, my thought is that we get this impulsive breakout above that pivot, rally up toward this R1, pull back to the pivot, and then break out higher. And we set up toward a new all-time high. We get this locked in as 3 down. This is wave 3. This is wave 4. And we head up, right? Gold, I've changed my outlook on gold, right? Remember, I was looking at the idea that maybe we have this flat correction coming down. Well, guess what? Things change. I tell you guys, you either want to be profitable or you want to be right. The goal is to be profitable, right? That's what the goal is. So you have to, when new information comes in, you have to be, open to something different, right? So I'd been talking as we were coming down here, I've been talking about the idea that, okay, if it doesn't play out, we would be looking at probably 2,300. Right? Minimum. And so now I'm saying it doesn't look like we're working out. Look at this. This is the weekly, right? Monthly, weekly, right? Look at this. We're above the weekly pivot. My first wave, I've got it targeted up here around the R1. That puts us near the all-time high right there, right? First subwave, first 5 waves up, completes the first subwave at the previous wave's resistance. You get a 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're looking for minimum wave 5 up here at 2750. right? So again, the pivot on the weekly is the important thing to watch. If we pull back to it, we want to stay above it. We want it to act as support. If we can get a rally to the R1 and a pullback to the pivot and get a bounce off that pivot, if you're not long, you should be long at that point. Looking for a breakout above the R1 pivot here to rally on up here. Minimum up here, 27.50. Could overextend on waves, right? I'm Deuce. What's up? Says the Q's measured from inception to all-time high. Found support right on the 38.2. High strike target for a wave 4. Yep. So there you go, right? And the Q's aren't going to go without the Q's is just technology, right? So it's not going anywhere without taking without the Nasdaq coming with it, right? Nasdaq right now, of the Nasdaq, the S&P, and the Dow, the Nasdaq is the laggard, right? What's up, Genghis Khan? Always good to see you checking in, man. And so we continue over here. We go, okay, well, there's gold. We say, here's the Dow, right? So again, I've been talking to you guys about the Dow. Again, A, B, C, same ideas on the Qs there, right? Broke out above wave B. That locks this in as 3 waves down. Again, this is either ABC as a W, and then we'll get ABC as an X, and then we'll get ABC as a Y. But, the fact that we are, not only did we come in sideways between the R1 and the pivot here, but we found support on the pivot, bounced up, found support on the pivot, and we're trying to rally again. This tells me this is likely to hold here. And if this is going to hold, again, we should be looking for a rally up higher, right? Probably looking up here around 44,673, depending on how you can count this once it's done. But look, you guys should have been looking at the fact. Well, I didn't have to do that there. Look at this. Look at this monthly candle, October. Almost bullish engulfing. It's not bullish engulfing because it opens higher than where the other one closed, but it would have been had it opened there, right? It's big enough. It's a huge candle, right? And then you get follow up here, and then you find support on the monthly. Right here at the weekly pivot, right here at this, look at it right here, where we are. Large candle to small candle. Support, 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 support. Doji, support. Resistance, 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 support, right? This is an important area. That's why it's the weekly pivot. And we're still finding support on it. So, to me, Dow looks like it's going to pop up higher. If you get Nasdaq and the S&P to break out above their mid-August swing highs as well, that just confirms the indexes are confirming each other on that breakout, confirming the Dow on that breakout. And we should be looking higher. Again, here's the S&P, right? Same idea. Mid-August swing high. 5 down, 3 up, 5 down. So ABC, right? Wave 4 complete. Looking for this moving up, right? Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like maybe got a 1, 2. And so we're working our way up, right? Potentially up there toward 56.11 on a blow-off top scenario, maybe as high as 7,090. See what I'm saying? So we continue to look across these here. RTY right here. Look at this. The Russell, right? Again. Now the Russell a little bit. Well, no, here it is right here. That mid-August swing high is right here, right? But again, A, B, C. Count it out, right? And then we got 1, 2, 1, 2. If this is a 1, 2, 1, 2, this is correct. This wave 3 should be a nice big move. Right? So right now, potentially up here around 29.62, 29.63 at least, potentially. You've got this base building here, right? Where's your volume coming in down here? It's spiking down here at the bottom. Look, you have all this low volume here, right? So it came down and then spiked, right? Bounced up, came down, low volume, right? And then spiked at the bottom here and continued to stay spiking down here at the bottom, right? Rallies up. Volume kind of goes down, right? Comes back down, boom, spikes again at the bottom. What does this tell us? That means they're trying to send it down, but the market's not having any of it. The market is like, no, we're buying here. We're interested. We don't want, well, it's not that the market is, so the bigger players are buying here, right? The market is not carrying it any lower. That's what we're talking about, right? Because everything is a test, right? We're always testing supply and demand. And when you're at the lows of the range and you're not getting any follow through lower, you're just getting this sudden big spike at the bottom. That's a lot of buying, concentrated buying coming on. And the market's not arguing with it. The market's like, no, it's cool. Let's go, man. We can go up. Or they're like, I sold everything I had. I can't do anything if I wanted to anyway. So let's look for that move up, right? Let me see here. Oil. Man, oil, look at this. Potentially, if the bottom's in for oil here, I mean, you're looking potentially up here, $167 oil, right? The idea being this is 3, this is 4, and this would be 5 up here. But I wouldn't rule out the fact it runs the R pivots up to 227, right? Maybe you get some kind of big smack in the face. Something happens, right? Remember, commodities. Commodities generally have their biggest movement in the fifth wave, and they have it in the fifth wave because people become scared. They're scared of not having enough. They're scared of famine. They're scared of war, right? So if oil's going to pop up that high, it's going to be because they're fearful of there not being enough, right? So production's down, right? And so could have that heading up there, right? But again, we're really looking for that impulsive breakout above the weekly pivot. If we can get that, we're looking at the R1. We're looking to pull back the pivot. We want to see a breakout head higher. And, we're looking up toward these targets. Does that make sense? Let me see here. So, I mean, yeah. So, I mean, no matter how many ways you cut this, no matter how you slice it, guys, this is what it looks like. Now, for oil, obviously, again, we want to see that breakout, that kind of that, what is this, 92, 91, something like that here, 94 area kind of thing. We want to see an impulsive breakout above that, and we want to see it hold this support. And then we want to see a rally to the R1, a pull back to the pivot, and a breakout higher. If we can get that, there's no reason to think that we're not going to at least get that 167 and probably run the pivots. Which means this could be a blow-off top year. You could see things move really stupidly higher as people overreact, as things overreact. Right? And then the big depression maybe sets in, right? Remember, the one thing I was telling you about with the stocks, right, was the fact that that we didn't have a blow-off top, right? The idea that, man, if this is a super cycle top, there should have been some sort of blow-off. It should have been everybody and their grandmothers overly excited. It can't possibly end. Think of 1929 before heading into the Great Depression, right? The 1920s. It's a great time of just consistent rally, right? If you look back, I mean, the 20s were a party decade, right? And then 29 happened. Boom. Stock market dropped for a couple of years, right? And then it took a quarter of a century before it got back up to that high again. It wasn't until the 1950s that it actually hit that all-time high again. So, here we are again. We're not getting a blow-off top, but we're talking about the same thing, a super cycle top. So that's why as we were coming down here, guys, I've been talking about here, I've been like, well, we didn't get that. So maybe this might just be corrective. And we were looking for a potential correction, right? Then we got this and this. And then we got this. And oh my gosh, it really starts looking like it, right? This is nothing I'm just pulling out of my rear end. This is, kind of looking at what are your expectations based upon, especially if you're using cycles of some sort, what happens within that cycle? What is your expectation of that? And is it happening? Because if it's not, then you have to question, well, is that really that part of the cycle? Now, I don't know. Do we blow off top this year, or do we just continue up for the next few years? I don't know yet. I honestly don't know. But I think in either case, I think there's a great narrative that we continue higher and make new all-time highs across these asset classes. Except for the dollar. I think the dollar continues to come on down, right? And that'll fuel that rally there. Let's see here. Andrew says, my gut tells me next week will be very interesting. Bitcoin weekly RSI above 54 and holding appears to be very bullish. Yeah, it's definitely above 54. I mean, RSI is up here in the 80s, right? Looking at the past on the BLX, yeah. Looking over here, sure. And again, we've talked about the similarities between what's going on here, what happened here, right? Think about it. If you put this into this right here, you've got the same structure basically right here, right? If you do kind of like this with this. And then you do this. We'll change it like that, right? With this right here. And then, of course, you know, you get this same kind of move back up, right? The strong move back up, right? That's what you're getting here. And then, of course, you have this bottom down here, right? Now, this bottom's slightly different than this bottom here, but overall, generally the same, right? And you look and you go, okay, well, let me kind of throw my, you know, my lines here, right? This one's kind of moved over yet, but, you know, again, you got this move down, right? This move down, the breakout, big move, breakout, big move. I mean, if you guys aren't seeing that, you know, start paying attention. Now, what would get a lot of people to do is they'll say, oh, well, now we're going to have this. No, this isn't what normally happens. I mean, you know, you're looking at this huge, you know, I don't know, even if we set our, set it to fibs, right, based on log scale, you know, that you're still looking at an 85.4% drop. And we don't normally get that. Now, especially not like a spike like that with something different, right? Usually you're going to look at the wave 4 is what you're usually going to look at as far as your target goes for wave 2, right? But, I mean, what we've got going on here is this right here. If you guys aren't seeing that, you're not paying attention. Now, this is what I've been talking about for months now. You know, everybody, the big accounts were saying, oh, well, this whole thing is going to lead to this big, huge drop down here to 12,000 or something. No. There's no reason, right? We'll drop there. Weekly R. Oh, was I looking at the wrong? Oh, I was looking at the wrong RSI. I got you. What do you got here? Oh, yeah, man. That weekly RSI looks great. Stoke RSI is kind of hot here, but hey, you know, it's all right. You know, we kind of had that going on with this right here, right? Or you got this right here, for instance, this rally up here. I mean, yeah, look at this kind of compared with this over here, right? So we top down Stoke RSI on this breakout here, this area here, and then we kind of stayed high all the way through to the top, right? So here, we're just now getting to the top, right? And we could potentially just stay up here, kind of like we did here with this right here. And it just continues to be this, right? Now, does that mean it's going to be exactly the same? No, they're not exactly the same. There are no exacts, guys. Stop watching people who say, oh, here's a Wyckoff chart. There's no volume analysis at all. It can't possibly be a Wyckoff chart. They can't possibly say distribution or accumulation in terms of Wyckoff without volume. You have to have it. It's a requisite. You cannot do Wyckoff analysis without volume and price action as part of that. That's the bread and butter of it. So don't watch people when they're, and I say this because this is what we see most of. They bring up a schematic. They go, oh, look at how perfect it looks like that schematic. They have no clue what they're talking about. They're saying, oh, it looks like it. Well, if you pay attention, your distribution accumulations look an awful lot alike until they're done. It's the volume and price action within it that determines what it is and how it's going to play out. But yeah, you know, looks pretty bullish here. Again, kind of hitting the same area well, actually, we're right above it here. Look at that. See this area of support and resistance here all the way across from back here, you know, years and years back? And we're kind of popping out above that right now. Again, with Bitcoin, there's your weekly pivot. If you get an impulsive breakout above that, you should be looking for a rally of the R1, a pull back, and then head up, right? So maybe this continues to push up. Maybe, but you know, again, my thought is we get kind of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here to it, right above it, right? And then we pull back. So we go 1, 2, and then we kind of move up here, and then we pull back, and then we kind of head up, right? So yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of similarity in the actual kind of structures. Enough similarity to say, hey, you know, you should be watching it as such, but nobody wanted to listen, right? Nobody talked about it all over here. Nobody wanted to listen. Then it goes up and they start screaming manipulation. How is it manipulation when I told you this is what was likely to happen? Manipulation is something that comes out Well, unless I know that it's on the manipulation and I'm in on the manipulation, right? Whatever. Such silliness. Fiboswani says the Bitcoin monthly looks great to him. Pop it out over here. Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite charts. Look at this, guys. Look at that. Look at that. So you've got the swing low over here in November. December is this little starter, and then you got this nice large bullish engulfing candle here in January here. I mean, absolutely fantastic, right? A little bit different from here, but somewhat the same, right? You know, you have your swing low down here, same. You know, you get the low wick candle there in December, and then January was a sideways month, and then February was a sideways month, and then we started moving up into the bigger moves, right? This one, you know, again, the structure here coming down is different than the structure here coming down. So your very low is going to be a little bit different, right? But nonetheless, looking pretty decent right now. Why so blur your screen? Who's blurring whose screen? My screen isn't blurred. Check your player, your video player. If it's YouTube or whatever, click the little gear icon or whatever it is on it and see if you can. I stream it at a 1081 high def. So if you're getting a blurred thing, it's because your internet connection is probably slowing down, or the YouTube or whatever you're using to view it in, the player has toned it down, has pulled it back into a lower resolution. So yeah. Yeah, there you go. Does that work better? Yeah, so that's what you guys got to do if that happens. I'm always streaming at 1080 HD. So a lot of information coming at you. So if you're in an area where your internet maybe isn't as stable or isn't as fast all the time, the player a lot of times will pull it down to like 700 or something. Look like that. Okay, guys. Great. Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all. Michael says, with Ethereum kind of consolidating at resistance and Ethereum Bitcoin looking bottomed, do we think there might be an alt rally shortly? Well, yeah, again, we would expect that, right? So once Bitcoin is done, right, the bigger cycle, right, the bigger, get the 5 waves up, then we expect that money to flow out of Bitcoin into the alts, right? Into, other large caps, which large caps are basically riding with it, right? But they start kind of coming up against it as you get toward the end of that Bitcoin, that local cycle right there, right? And then you'll go, to the mids, and then you'll go to the small caps, then you'll go to the micro caps, and then it'll, flow back to Bitcoin, right? Yeah, that's what generally happens. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, definitely wouldn't surprise me. Oh, no, Ethereum, Bitcoin, right? I haven't touched this in a few months. Let's see where we're at here. Yeah, I mean, everything's still kind of going on. Still range bound here. We've been range bound since May on this right here, right? But look what happened here. This is the weekly. We're about to reset into oversold on Stochh RSI. You can notice here that you got spikes of volume, right? But you got your big spike of volume in this range. Look where you got it. Right here at the low. Printed that long-legged lower shadow, long-legged doji. Rallied up. I mean, man, there was your cue to buy. Mid-range, first target, end of the range, second target, kind of idea. Just do it simply. But yeah, I mean, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to me. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or it's ABC here. So it could be 1, 2, 3, and then a flat correction for 4, and then go up higher. So if we break out higher, I'm going to look at that as a 1, 2, and then a 3, a flat correction is a 4, and we'll head up higher. If we continue to break down, then we'll look at this as 1 up and 2 down, right? And, the 50% is right here at the old weekly pivot. I'm going to leave it on there for right now with that 0.0646 kind of area, 50%. You know what? I'm just going to pull this up here. Drives me nuts if it's not correct. That would be the first, first target I'd look for. And so you get you just like an ABC. But I could see a possibility here where this is ABC down for A, ABC up for B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for C, give you a flat correction. Yeah, so you go 1, 2. Yeah, potentially. So I'm just looking for a breakout. Definitely get us a higher, or, if we break down, we'll look for that slightly lower low, and then we'll look for a breakout there. But either case, I think, I believe we're bullish off the lows here. So I think, Ethereum against Bitcoin is going to be a good play. Something I've talked about more than a few times before, right? Yeah. Low time frame, Bitcoin dominance kind of looks topped. Yeah. Dominance is looking like it's pretty topped out there. I'll be updating that. That's the weekly update there. So I'll be updating that this evening for you guys that are in tier 3. Let me see here. Ethereum. Look at how beautiful that's been, guys. Look at that. I've been talking about this since before the breakout, right? Man, just so much here. We got the 50 almost crossing the 200 here. This is on the daily. You think it looks topped? I don't know, man. Look at this right here. Look what happened here. This is the daily. Stoke RSI. Reset into oversold. It's threatening to cross bullishly, and then we look for a breakout. I don't know, man. We've got hidden bullish divergence right here. Is this right here? Just gotta put this back on there real quick. Right here, right? So, and if Bitcoin's doing a triangle, then the odds are Ethereum's probably doing a triangle as well. So, yeah, potentially could be A, B, C. Oh, I'm sorry. A, B, C, D, E, maybe. Or maybe, let me see. A, B, C, D, E is a triangle here, heading up. So, if it is, if that's the triangle, if it's a running triangle like on Bitcoin, you're probably looking up here around 1791. As the third wave up, pull back for a 4, back down toward this area. I'm just kind of guesstimating where it would be. And it kind of gives you that $1,900 target, potentially, up there. So, yeah, and right now we're really still finding support on the 50 MA here on the 6 hour there anyway. Weekly, again, looking for price to rally pretty close to the pivot, get a pullback, and then you break out, rally up to the R1, come back to the pivot, break out, head up higher again. So I think that's a good possibility of what we may be seeing getting ready to happen there, right? But we'll see. We'll see if we can get that, right? Looks like A, B, C right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then down, right? And then 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, generally looking for a target up here around that 1900 area, right up there around that pivot. Whether it pops up just about above it or around it, and then get the pullback and then get the breakout up to the R1 and then pull back to the pivot and then go again. Fibble says his Ethereum daily is bullish too, just signaled long the other day. Yeah. So some confluence on the waves. I like that. You and Bob Lucas, man, I like when you guys agree with me. Is there a possibility we head down to new lows before seeing all-time highs? I tend to believe this, but what's your take? Sorry if you answered already. Oh, anything's possible. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. Anything is possible, guys. That's why I tell you, be wary of the people on here saying guaranteed. Everything's guaranteed. Whatever they're saying is guaranteed. Because they know you're going to suck onto that and just latch on and not let go. And then you'll sit there and you'll subscribe to their channel. You'll follow them, whatever. Whether they're right, wrong, or otherwise, you'll do it, right? But that isn't the way things work. Not in trading. There's just higher or lower probabilities that something may or may not happen. depending on what levels price is going through, right? So you're never like wrong or right. You're always just either more correct or less correct. And if you think about it like that, then it allows you to forgive yourself for, getting stopped out on a trade, and, getting your mindset slowly changed to this idea that, well, okay, so, I've got to approach the market in a different way than what I have been in the past, right? I'm going to be honest with you. So we were talking about about the dragon pattern, right? Since I've got you guys here, that's the theorem, the Kraken chart. That's fine. What if? Guys, ready for this? Are you ready for this? Okay. So basically, you'd be looking at the head, left leg, right leg. We're breaking out, so you should have been long there. Of course, that's where you are. All right, it's the other way. Let me see, I got to go up with it. Actually, let me do it this way. Sorry. The extensions here, right? So, if we're looking at this, oh, I don't have it, do I? God dang it. I thought I labeled it as it's a dragon pattern. I wanted to show and compare it to you with the let me pull it up over here with what I posted over here for you guys on Twitter. Give me just 1 second, guys. I'll find it. Unless you've got a link to it already. You want to share. Oh, nope. I beat you. Okay. Dragon pattern, right? Well, you can't see that. Let me do this. There we go. See what we're looking at there? So you get your head, right? Your leg. Now, the only thing I don't like about this potentially is the fact that this should be the hump up here, but you don't get a clean break right there, right? So I'm kind of iffy about that. But we'll go with the hump right there, right? We'll go with the hump, right? Up here, which is at the pivot, right? And so you get leg 1, leg 2, right? So you get your head, your neck, body, whatever you got going on there, right? You got leg 1, leg 2, and this is the tail coming off here, right? So what do you say? First target is a 62 to the 78%, right? That would give us a first target up here. Around that R1 pivot. Look at that. Second target. Maybe you can't see that. There we go. let me just take this in a little bit here for you, so you can see a little bit better. All right. The second target is the 100%, right? So second target comes in right here, around that 30, almost 3,800, right? 3,775. And then, again, if we look here, third target is the 127 to 162, right? 127, 162. Make sure it's right there. Nope, I was on the other one. There we go. So, I mean, if we're looking at the dragon pattern here, right? This is what we saw in Bitcoin, right? That's what it looks like we're doing right here. You guys catch that? Excuse me. See that right there? So, this gets kind of interesting, right? I hadn't actually noticed this until I was just talking here. But, I mean, it does what it needs to do. My only concern is that it doesn't actually hit the hump here, right? So, if we're labeling it here, we'd say head. Why is that green? Drive me nuts. Oh, jeez. Whatever. We'll do red. That's fine. So, you get your head up here. And then you get your leg 1, right? Then you get leg 2. Remember, it's a form of a double bottom. It's not really what we would consider normally a double bottom because often the legs are pretty significantly off each other like this and like was on Bitcoin. We're still looking at this though, right? You got the hump over here. And then we have, of course, the head up here. So this is the tail coming out, right? And so this becomes, let's see here, take profit, right? So that's the first take profit, second take profit, third. I did it nicely. It's exactly where I needed to go. So, I mean, so there you go, guys. It looks like it, right? If we look at the range here, again, we've got this range developing. We got higher lows off it. We got volume dropping off throughout the range. Range kicks up on this drop here into the low, which there's no follow through. Remember what I told you guys? A lot of volume coming in on there, but no follow through. It should go up, right? It goes up. We're about to break out. Heck, what do you guys think of that? You guys like that? I like it. I don't know what all this is over here. Remnants of old days, I guess. But anyway, so there you go. There's your hopium, I guess, or whatever you want to call it for Ethereum. I think it actually looks pretty good, though. And, you know, guess what, guys? It makes sense, right? Again, if we break out impulsively above the pivot, we should target the R1. The R1 happens to find confluence with this supply cluster over here, right? We should get rejected, come back. We should break out higher, right? If we break out higher, there's your next kind of area. Right around where you get this swing high, all this resistance, right? Right down your next area is the swing high. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Looks good. Just don't want to wake up Gandalf. Yeah, you know, again, guys, you know, as I continue to say, there are no guarantees, right? Proper risk management all the time. But, you know, you look for trades that are more likely than not, right? You look for trades that have a higher confidence to them, rather than entering just because. If you're entering just because, you're going to take a lot of losses that you don't have to take. But you often do that because you're impatient, right? So impatience is a very big thing that you have to deal with. As long as you're not impatient, then you can wait for a trade. Professional traders wait for trades to come to them, guys. They don't go chasing after trades. If they miss an entry, they don't worry about it. Okay, they know they're going to have tons of other trades coming in. Amateur traders are the exact opposite, right? Y'all know, right? You miss a trade, you get FOMO, you want to jump in, right? You get impatient. Oh man, why isn't it coming? And so you try to force something to happen. Well, I guess I could enter here instead and put my stop loss here instead. And you start, what might have been a good setup, you start really just kind of mangling up, right? This is all on you, guys. This is what I'm telling you. It's all emotional and psychological. That is the stuff that's difficult to get through. That's what we are attacking in that LMT program, guys, in that mentor program. It's going to make you a better trader. There's no doubt about it. If you apply, if you listen, if you accept, and if you apply consistently using discipline, right? If you're disciplined about consistently applying it, right? Can't force you to do it. But anyway, I think this looks pretty good here. As far as that goes, right? Julio Don, what's up? Day traders on Wall Street use the same strategies. Which same strategies, man? Which one? So I understand what you're saying. Hank, late again, buddy. Don't forget that technically the 2017 high was also the head of the dragon. Left paw at 3,000. Right paw at... No. It wouldn't have been the 2017 high. It would be this high right here. It's a drop down and the breakout back up. Okay? You have to have the pullback, and then it's that breakout back up that's the head. See right here? You have the pullback, it's that breakout that's the head up, and then the big move down. It doesn't have to be straight down, but it's usually pretty aggressively lower. And then, yeah, but you're right, though. I mean, if I look at this, I'll be honest with you, Hank, I hadn't actually thought about that. But I get, you know... See, I would have drawn this as like leg one, leg two, and then this breakout came down here would have invalidated the pattern for me. You know, do you do that and go, that's a wave two? See, this was a what's happening here, that this move down was an anomaly, right? That was that BitMEX liquidation engine kind of pushing everything down, right? But if I was looking at this as it was playing out, we're doing this drop back down would have invalidated the pattern for me. But if we look back on it, we go, okay, well, maybe here, okay, so here, this becomes leg 2, then, oh, okay, maybe, right? And so that, it's the same kind of thing here that I have here. I'm like, yeah, maybe. But, again, the more what you're looking at diverges from actually the rules of the pattern, the way it should look. Normally, there's always the look, right? Especially big and Elliott wave, right? The look. The more it diverges, the more kind of cautious you become about it. Could still be a version of it, but you want to be cautious about it. Yeah. Oh, I'm using the Ethereum chart. Oh, my bad. Yeah, hey, let me check here. All right. So you think here, no, it wouldn't have been there. It would have to be this one here. It's because your head doesn't come off the all-time high. What you do is you look for, or from a high, you look for a high that pulls back, and then that drops down, and then the pullback is the head. So you'd have to be something like this here, right? In which case, we wouldn't get it here. But your head of your dragon shouldn't be the high. It should always be, there's a pullback first off that high, and then the bounce on that creates the head. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, monthly, weekly, I mean, again, it would be this area here, right? So it comes down, there's your head. So here's leg 1. Where's leg 2? That's not leg 2 there. Yeah, I really, honestly, man, I think you'd be pushing it. I'm trying to see, can I convince myself that it would work there? I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Okay, maybe. All right, you get your head here. But see, again, we have that same area there, that same kind of issue that I have with Ethereum, so I'm cautious about it. But yeah, I mean, I guess I could see you get your head up here. You come down your first leg, come down your second leg. But see, your hump is right between it. Yeah. I honestly, I wouldn't trade it as such here, just because there's so much that I would have to give up in terms of what I normally look at for it to kind of say it is. I mean, I think there's maybe an argument that it could be like a redheaded stepchild of it or something. Maybe. No offense to redheaded stepchildren out there, but I just mean personally, there's too much off of the way it is here to really kind of say, yeah. But it's the same idea, though. I mean, it is the same idea. The pattern, all you're looking for, guys, is you're looking for a somewhat of a double bottom. You're looking for a descending resistance, and you're buying that break out of descending resistance. And then you're buying the hump, right? If you're going to do that. But in this case, it's kind of iffy here. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could maybe... See, I'm trying to convince myself. I don't like it overall. But like I said, some really bastardized version of it, sure, maybe. But I'm glad that you brought it up, though. Definitely worth looking at there for sure. Yeah. I just I try to be a little bit more on point on specifics with the patterns when I'm talking about it here, because a lot of new traders in here and they might not understand variations and how to really look for that, at what point is a variation too much kind of thing. Because even you're talking to me here and I'm still like, I'm still iffy about, the amount of the variation and whatnot. And I don't like to enter trades like that. But for me, what we talked about, what you and I were talking about back when we had this down here, right? We were talking about this big line drop in here, right? I mean, we basically drew this, didn't we? And we were talking about this, right? On this, and we were looking at, talking about, hey, that breakthrough there on that resistance. I would prefer to look at it this way, honestly. It's a lot cleaner. It looks a lot more clear as a pattern. But yeah, bastardized version, maybe. But you and I, though, we were talking about this whole thing being this descending kind of wedge going on here and looking for the breakout above that. When everybody else was talking about that rejection here at 4. Definitely getting rejected. Remember, definitely getting rejected. It's got to go down $1,000 and less, remember? Then up here again, definitely's got to go down now. Never did, right? Went up. Had our target box up here, hit that. I was trying to be a bit more aggressive in here. That didn't work out. We came down, and then, of course, boom, the big move here. But, again, got back in, in that 4,600, 5,400 kind of area in here. A nice rally up. So, yeah. Oh, get off your linear chart. That's too big to use linear. Anyway, guys. All right, hey, listen. Well, that's it. I'm going to get out of here. Like I said, guys, we'd love to have you with us, DWC. You can get in tier 3 right now. Go to howtotradetowin.com/T3. And you can get, normally it's $200 a month, guys. You can get it for $19.99 1 month. No auto renew. Now you don't have to worry about canceling it. Jump in, soak up as much information as you can. If you decide, hey, this is a great place and I want to be with you guys for a while, we're going to give you a great deal. But if you don't want to, that's cool too. Just keep coming back to the streams, right? Follow me on Twitter, TX West Capital, right? And do those sort of things. But we got a lot of stuff coming up this year, guys. Like I said, if you think you might be interested in a free webinar or Zoom kind of thing next week, maybe with me teaching something, let me know. I put that link, or I put that tweet there on my profile on TX West Capital on Twitter. Just kind of like it and you'll mention that you're interested. So I know if it's if it's got to be, I have a decent bit of people kind of showing up, right? Because it takes time to do it. I've got to figure out what I do, and I have to put it all together, and then I have to set it up, and so I want to make sure that you guys are interested. But other than that, like I said, guys, I got the one space from earlier this week still left in the LMT program, the mentor program, left at the $29.99 rate, the $2,999 rate. Again, we accept cash, credit cards. Well, I guess not cash, right? Credit cards, PayPal, crypto, Bitcoin. And then there's financing options on there as well, guys. If you're in the U.S. or if you're not in the U.S., I'm willing to finance it myself per the terms that are on there. But if you're coming in at the $29.99, terms will be a little bit different. Anyway, first person to hit me up with that, you get it, okay? Other than that, guys, listen, just slow down, breathe. Look for the higher confidence entries. Don't enter just because there's a chance. Don't get FOMO. You're going to get a chance to enter, okay? Getting FOMO is where you lose money, all right? Other than that, the only thing you control in the market is how much you lose, right? That's it, guys. So, make it your mission as a trader. If you're serious about trading, make it your mission that is the one thing that you do consistently over and over again every day as a trader. The better you get at your risk management, the better you're going to see everything else turn out as a trader. Okay? All right. You guys have a great day. Have a great weekend. I'll be back on Tuesday, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you guys are in Discord, I'll see you in a bit. If you're in the mentor program, we are going to meet in just about an hour for our weekly session. We'll do that. And man, oh man, other than that, I hope you guys have a great day. All right? Take care.